The throne room of Shadowmoor Keep has never felt so cold. Elowyn kneels on the stone floor, her wrists bound in iron chains that bite into her skin. Blood trickles from a gash above her eye, dripping onto the marble like crimson tears. Around her, the pack's elite warriors form a circle of hostile faces, their eyes filled with disgust she doesn't understand. 3 moons ago, she stood in this very room as a bride. Theron had placed the Luna's circlet on her head with trembling hands, his golden eyes soft with a tenderness she'd never seen him show anyone else. He'd whispered promises against her lips. Forever. Always. Mine. Now those same eyes stare down at her from the obsidian throne, cold as winter frost and twice as cutting. You stand accused of treason against the crown. Theron's voice echoes through the chamber, devoid of any warmth. Of conspiring with the Bloodfang clan to assassinate your king. The words hit her like physical blows. Elowyn's head snaps up, confusion and horror warring on her face. Theron, I don't understand. I would never— You will address him as Alpha King, snarls Revena, stepping forward from the shadows. The woman's copper hair gleams like a warning flame in the torchlight, her amber eyes bright with barely concealed triumph. You lost the right to speak his name when you betrayed him. Elowyn stares at her husband's chief advisor, the woman who has opposed their union from the very beginning. Something clicks into place. The private meetings Revena insisted on having with Theron. The servants who suddenly avoided Elowyn's gaze, the way her food began tasting strange weeks ago. This is her doing, Elowyn says, her voice gaining strength despite her terror. She's lying to you, Theron. Whatever evidence she's shown you, it's fabricated. I am your mate. I carry your child. A gasp ripples through the assembled wolves. Theron's expression flickers, just for a moment, something raw and wounded passing through his eyes. Then Revena leans close to whisper in his ear, and the frost returns. A convenient claim, he says flatly, one that cannot be verified until the child is born. If there even is a child. The cruelty of his doubt cuts deeper than any blade. Elowyn's hand moves instinctively to her stomach, where new life grows beneath her heart. She's only 8 weeks along, too early to show, too early to prove, but she knows. She's felt the spark of their bond extending to encompass something new, something precious. Please, she whispers, hating the way her voice breaks. Look at me. Really look at me. You know me, Theron. You know I could never do this. For one agonizing heartbeat, he hesitates. His jaw tightens. His hands grip the armrests of his throne until his knuckles turn white. She sees the battle raging behind his eyes, love warring with suspicion, trust fighting against whatever poison Revena has poured into his mind. Then Revena places a gentle hand on his shoulder, and Elowyn watches her, husband's face harden into stone. The evidence is irrefutable, Theron says, each word falling like a hammer blow. Letters in your own hand, witnesses who saw you meeting with Bloodfang scouts. Gold from their treasury found hidden in your chambers. Lies. Elowyn struggles against her chains, desperation clawing at her chest. I wrote no letters. I met no one. Someone planted that gold to frame me. Enough. The single word carries the weight of his alpha command, pressing down on her wolf until she can barely breathe. Elowyn of the Silverpine Pack, formerly Luna of Shadowmoor, I hereby strip you of your title and your place in this pack. Tears stream down her face, but she forces herself to meet his gaze. Even now, even as he destroys everything they built together, she cannot look away from him. The punishment for treason is death, Theron continues, and she sees Revena's smile widen in anticipation. But in recognition of our former bond, I will show mercy. Mercy. The word tastes like ash. You are banished from Shadowmoor territory, effective immediately. You will be escorted to the border of the wasteland and released. If you are ever seen in Packlands again, you will be killed on sight. The wasteland. Miles upon miles of barren, hostile territory where rogues and monsters roam. No pregnant wolf has ever survived there alone. He's not showing mercy. He's giving her a slower death. Theron. She says his name one last time, pouring everything she has into it. All her love, all her pain, all her desperate hope that somehow he'll see through the deception. Please. Our child. Take her away. He turns his face from her, staring at the far wall as if she's already gone, already dead. I don't want to see her again. The guards drag her from the throne room as she screams his name. The last thing she sees before the doors slam shut is Revena taking her place beside the throne, one pale hand resting on Theron's arm in a gesture of false comfort. They throw her from the back of a wagon at the edge of the wasteland just as the sun bleeds into the horizon. Alawan hits the ground hard, her bound wrists unable to break her fall. Pain lances through her shoulder, her hip, her heart. The guards don't look at her as they cut her bonds and toss a small water skin at her feet. Alpha's mercy, one of them mutters, though he doesn't sound like he believes it. Then they're gone, the wagon disappearing back toward Shadowmoor, leaving her alone in the gathering darkness. Alawan lies there for a long moment, staring at the purple sky as the first stars begin to emerge. Her body aches, her soul feels shattered, but beneath her hand, pressed against her still flat stomach, she feels a flutter of warmth, her child, their child, the only piece of Theron she has left. I'll keep you safe, she whispers into the darkness. Whatever it takes. I promise. She forces herself to stand on trembling legs. The wasteland stretches before her, all twisted trees and jagged rocks and shadows that seem to move with hungry intent. Behind her lies everything she's ever known. Ahead lies almost certain death. Alawan takes her first step forward. She doesn't look back. The wasteland lives up to its name. Alawan walks through the night, putting as much distance between herself and the border as possible. Every shadow could hide a rogue wolf. Every sound could signal approaching death. Her wolf stirs weakly inside her, still suppressed from the alpha command, too drained to shift. By dawn, her feet are bleeding and her throat is parched, despite rationing the water skin. The landscape offers nothing but cracked earth and skeletal trees. No water, no shelter, no hope. She thinks of Theron constantly, not the cold stranger who condemned her, but the man she fell in love with. The way he laughed when they were alone, rare and precious as gold. The night he told her about his parents' death, his voice breaking as she held him. The morning he proposed, his hands shaking as he slipped the ring onto her finger. How did Revena destroy all of that so completely? What lies did she tell? What evidence did she fabricate? The questions circle endlessly, but answers remain out of reach. On the second day, she finds a stream. The water is brackish but drinkable, and she fills her water skin with desperate gratitude. A cluster of thornberries grows nearby. She knows they'll make her sick if she eats too many, but a few won't hurt. The child needs nourishment, even if she doesn't. Always the child. Every decision now filters through that single truth. She is no longer just Elowyn. She is a mother, even if her baby is no bigger than a seed. The fever starts on the third night. At first, she thinks it's exhaustion. Her limbs grow heavy, her thoughts fuzzy. But then the chills begin, violent shaking that rattles her teeth and makes her curl into a ball beneath a rocky overhang. Heat follows, sweat soaking through her torn dress until she's burning from the inside out. Something in those thornberries. Something her weakened body couldn't fight off. No, she gasps, pressing her hands against her stomach. No, please. Not like this. She can feel her hold on consciousness slipping. The world blurs and spins. Strange shapes dance at the edges of her vision, shadows that might be real, might be fever dreams. Her last coherent thought is of Theron, of his face the day they met, curious and guarded and beautiful, of the life they should have had, of everything Revena has stolen from them. Then the darkness takes her. She wakes to firelight and the smell of herbs. For a moment, Elowen thinks she's dead. The afterlife, perhaps, or some fever-induced fantasy. But then pain lances through her body, sharp and real, and she knows she's still alive. Easy, child. The voice is old, weathered like ancient oak, but kind. You've been through quite an ordeal. Elowen forces her eyes to focus. She's lying on a bed of furs inside a small cave. A fire crackles nearby, casting dancing shadows on the stone walls. And beside her sits the oldest woman she's ever seen. Silver hair falls past the woman's waist like a waterfall of moonlight. Her face is a map of wrinkles, but her eyes gleam bright and knowing, the color of liquid amber. She wears robes of deep gray, and strange symbols are tattooed along her weathered hands. Who? Elowen's voice comes out as a rasp. My name is Marin. The old woman lifts a cup to Elowen's lips. Drink. It's just water and honey. You need to rebuild your strength. The liquid is sweet and cool, soothing her raw throat. Elowen drinks greedily until Marin gently pulls the cup away. Not too much at once. Your body has been through tremendous strain. Those knowing eyes drift down to Elowen's stomach. Both of you need time to heal. You know about the baby? I know many things, child. Marin sets the cup aside and reaches for a bowl of something that smells earthy and medicinal. I know you are Elowen, former Luna of Shadowmoor. I know you were banished for crimes you did not commit. And I know that the child you carry is more important than you can possibly imagine. Fear and hope tangle in Elowen's chest. How? How do you know all this? Marin's lips curve into a mysterious smile. The moon goddess whispers to those who know how to listen, and she has been whispering about you for quite some time. Before Elowen can ask what that means, exhaustion drags her back down into darkness. But this time, she dreams. She dreams of silver light and a woman made of stars, reaching toward her with hands that shimmer like moonbeams. She dreams of a voice like music, speaking words she cannot quite understand. She dreams of power, vast and ancient, stirring somewhere deep inside her. And she dreams of Theron, sitting alone on his throne, his face buried in his hands as shadows gather around him. 2 weeks pass in Marin's cave. Elowen heals slowly, her body recovering from the poison and the ordeal of her banishment. Marin tends to her with patient care, brewing teas and poultices, ensuring she eats enough for both herself and the growing child. In the quiet hours between sleep and waking, they talk. Revena was not always as she is now, Marin says one evening, stirring a pot of stew over the fire. I knew her mother, many years ago, a good woman, kind and loyal. But Revena was born hungry, with ambition that could never be satisfied. Elowen sits wrapped in furs, her hand resting on her stomach where the slightest curve has begun to show. She wants Theron. She's wanted him since before we met. She wants power. Marin corrects gently. Theron is simply the path to it. As Luna, you stood in her way. As mother of the Alpha's heir, you would block her forever. The pieces fall into place with sickening clarity. The accusations, the evidence, it was all her. She planned everything. From the moment your union was announced, yes. Marin ladles stew into a wooden bowl. She is patient, that one, and ruthless. She spent months laying the groundwork, planting seeds of doubt, fabricating proof of your betrayal. And Theron believed her. The words taste like poison in Elowen's mouth. He didn't even question it. He just threw me away. He was deceived, child. Revena is skilled at manipulation. She showed him exactly what he feared most, that the one person he trusted completely had betrayed him. That doesn't excuse what he did. No. Marin hands her the bowl. It doesn't. But understanding why someone fails us is the first step toward deciding whether they deserve forgiveness. Elowen eats in silence, turning the old woman's words over in her mind. Forgiveness feels impossible right now. The wound is too fresh, too deep. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees Theron's cold face, hears his cruel words, and feels the chains biting into her wrists. But she also remembers his hesitation. That single moment when he looked at her and almost believed. Was that her husband fighting through the lies? Or just wishful thinking? A week later, she wakes to Marin standing at the cave entrance, her weathered face troubled. "What is it?" Elowen asks, immediately alert. "Riders, heading this way from Shadowmoor?" Ice floods Elowen's veins. They've come to finish what they started. Perhaps? Marin's eyes narrow as she peers into the distance. Or perhaps Revena simply wants to ensure you stay dead. Either way, we cannot remain here. They pack quickly, taking only essentials. Elowen's body protests the sudden activity, but fear provides strength she didn't know she had. As they slip out a hidden exit at the back of the cave, she catches a glimpse of riders cresting a distant hill. 6 of them, wearing Shadowmoor colors. "Where will we go?" Elowen whispers as they hurry through a narrow ravine. Somewhere Revena will never think to look. Marin's pace is surprisingly quick for her age. There is a village at the heart of the wasteland, a community of outcasts and exiles, wolves who have been cast aside by their packs. They call it Thornhaven. You will be safe there until you're strong enough for what comes next. What comes next? Marin stops, turning to face her with those strange, knowing eyes. The moon goddess has plans for you, child. Great and terrible plans. But first, you must survive. First, you must grow strong. And first. She reaches out, pressing her palm against Elowen's stomach. First, you must bring this little one safely into the world. As if in response, Elowen feels something she's never felt before. A flutter, a tiny movement, the first kick of her child. Tears spring to her eyes. In the midst of everything, all the fear and pain and uncertainty, this small life persists. This small life fights, just like its mother. "I understand," Elowen says, her voice steady despite her tears. "Whatever it takes, whatever I have to become, I'll do it." Marin smiles, and for just a moment, her eyes seem to glow with lunar radiance. "I know you will, child. The moon goddess chose well." Behind them, Shadowmoor's hunters find the empty cave and the cold ashes of the fire. And far away in the keep, Revena receives word that her prey has escaped. Her scream of rage echoes through the stone corridors as she sweeps everything from her desk in fury. Maps, letters, a crystal goblet that shatters against the wall. "Find her!" She snarls at the trembling messenger. "I don't care what it takes. I don't care how many wolves you need. Find her and bring me proof of her death." "And if she resists, my lady?" Revena's smile is sharp as broken glass. "Then make sure she suffers first." Thornhaven is not what Elowen expected. Hidden in a valley between 2 dead mountains, the village is a patchwork of crude shelters and salvaged materials. But smoke rises from chimneys, children play in the dusty streets, and the wolves who watch her arrival do so with curiosity rather than hostility. "Outcasts, all of them," Marin explains as they descend the rocky path. "Banished for crimes real and imagined, abandoned by packs who found them inconvenient. But here, they've built something new, something that belongs to no alpha but themselves." A tall woman with a scarred face meets them at the village edge. Her left eye is milky white, blind, but her right eye is sharp and assessing. "Marin, it's been years." Her voice is rough as gravel. "Who's this?" "Seraphine, meet Elowen, former Luna of Shadowmoor. The scarred woman's eyebrow rises. The one they're hunting? Half of Revena's wolves have been tearing through the wasteland looking for her. Which is why she needs sanctuary. Seraphine studies Elowin for a long moment, her gaze lingering on the swell of her stomach that's now impossible to hide. 3 months along, and the child grows stronger every day. She can stay, Seraphine finally says, but if she brings trouble to our gates, she faces it alone. We've survived this long by staying invisible. I won't risk my people for one woman's vendetta. I understand, Elowin says quietly. I don't want to endanger anyone. I just need somewhere safe until my child is born. Something softens in Seraphine's scarred face. Then welcome to Thornhaven, Luna. May you find the peace that was stolen from you. The weeks blur together in a rhythm of rest and recovery. Elowin helps where she can, learning to cook the tough wasteland roots into something edible, mending clothes with clumsy stitches that improve with practice. The villagers accept her slowly, their initial wariness fading as they see she's willing to work, willing to contribute. But it's the nights that change her. The dreams come more frequently now. Moonlit radiance flooding her mind. The woman made of stars, her features becoming clearer with each visit. And always, always, the sense of vast power stirring somewhere deep inside Elowin, waiting to be unleashed. The moon goddess speaks to you, Marin says one evening as they sit by the fire. She has chosen you as her vessel. I don't understand what that means. It means you are more than what Theron saw, more than what Revena fears. The old woman's eyes gleam in the firelight. You carry the bloodline of the first wolves, Elowin, the sacred line that ruled before alphas existed, when our kind walked alongside the gods themselves. Elowin shakes her head. That's impossible. I'm from Silverpine, a small pack, nothing special. My parents were ordinary wolves. Your parents raised you, but they were not your blood. Marin reaches out, taking Elowin's hands in her weathered grip. You were placed with them as an infant, hidden away to protect you from those who would exploit your power. The moon goddess herself arranged it. The world tilts. Everything Elowin thought she knew about herself crumbles like sand. Why? She whispers. Why hide me? Why any of this? Because power like yours is dangerous, child. In the wrong hands, it could destroy the world. In the right hands. Marin squeezes gently. It could save it. Before Elowin can respond, pain lances through her skull. She gasps, doubling over as argent luminescence explodes behind her eyes. The fire, the cottage, Marin's worried face. Everything vanishes, replaced by blinding radiance. And then she sees her. The moon goddess stands before her, terrible and beautiful beyond mortal comprehension. Her form shifts like moonlight on water, now a young woman, now an ancient crone, now something that has no human shape at all. Her voice is the howl of 1,000 wolves, the whisper of wind through sacred trees, the heartbeat of the world itself. My daughter, the goddess says, and the word resonates through Elowin's very soul. You have suffered greatly, but your suffering has purpose. What purpose? Elowin's voice sounds small, insignificant. Why did you let this happen to me? I did not let it happen. I wove it into being. The goddess's form solidifies into something almost human, a woman with silver hair and eyes like twin moons. Revena's treachery, Theron's failure, your banishment, all of it was necessary to awaken what sleeps inside you. I don't want power. I just want my life back. I want my mate back. You will have more than that, child. You will have justice. The goddess reaches out, her fingers brushing Elowin's forehead. But first, you must accept what you are. You must embrace the gift I gave you at birth. You must become what you were always meant to be. Power floods through Elowin like liquid fire. She screams as it remakes her from the inside out, burning away weakness, forging something new in its place. Her wolf, dormant for so long, roars to life with strength she's never felt before. Her senses sharpen until she can hear heartbeats miles away, smell emotions on the wind, and see the threads of fate that connect every living thing. When the vision fades and she finds herself back in the Mihat cottage, gasping on the floor, Marin is staring at her with wonder. "Your eyes?" the old woman breathes. "They've turned silver." Elowen raises her hand. Light gathers around her fingers, soft and luminous, responding to her will like an extension of her body. "What am I?" she whispers. Marin's smile is radiant. "You are the moon's chosen, the first in 1,000 years." She bows her head in reverence. "And when you return to Shadowmoor, Revena will learn the price of her treachery." 6 months pass. In Thornhaven, Elowen grows into her power like a flower blooming in moonlight. Marin teaches her to control the gift, to channel the goddess's strength without being consumed by it. She learns to heal with a touch, to see truth through lies, to command respect without speaking a word. Her belly swells with new life. The child kicks and tumbles, already strong, already touched by the same divine light that flows through its mother's veins. The village midwife says she's never seen a pregnancy so healthy, so vibrant. But even as Elowen transforms, her heart remains torn. She dreams of Theron still. Not the cold king who cast her out, but the man beneath the crown. She sees him pacing his empty chambers at night, staring at the space where she used to sleep. She sees the shadows deepening beneath his eyes, the way his hand sometimes reaches for hers before he remembers she's gone. The mate bond, stretched thin by distance and betrayal, still pulses between them, damaged but not destroyed. She doesn't know if that makes things better or worse. In Shadowmoor, everything is falling apart. Theron sits in his study, surrounded by reports that paint an increasingly dire picture. Crops failing without explanation, warriors falling ill with mysterious ailments, alliances that were once rock solid now crumbling into suspicion and mistrust. And always, always, Revena's voice in his ear. "The curse is spreading because we showed weakness," she murmurs, refilling his wine goblet. "When you spared the traitor instead of executing her, you invited this darkness upon us." He wants to believe her. It would be easier to believe her. But doubt has taken root in his heart, growing stronger with each passing moon. Little things, at first. The way Revena's story shifted slightly when he asked her to repeat it. The witness who disappeared before Theron could question him directly. The letters supposedly written in Elowen's hand that somehow didn't quite match her actual writing. He'd dismissed these concerns initially, too wounded by betrayal to think clearly. But now, with distance and time, the inconsistencies gnaw at him like wolves at a carcass. "I want to see the evidence again," he says abruptly. Revena's smile flickers. "My king, we've been over this, then we'll go over it again." He meets her eyes, and something in his gaze makes her take a step backward. All of it. Tonight. The truth, when it finally emerges, is uglier than he imagined. Theron spends 3 days locked in his study, examining every piece of evidence with fresh eyes. He brings in a handwriting expert who confirms what his gut already suspected. The letters are skilled forgeries, close to Elowen's script, but not quite right. He tracks down the supposedly vanished witness and finds him living comfortably on Revena's private estate, his silence bought with gold. The gold found in Elowen's chambers? Planted by one of Revena's servants, who breaks down and confesses everything when confronted with execution. By the time Theron emerges from his study, his face is gaunt, and his eyes are hollow with horror. He banished his pregnant mate for crimes she never committed. He threw away the one person who loved him truly, completely, without agenda or ambition. He let a viper into his den and called her advisor while she poisoned everything he held dear. The roar that tears from his throat shakes the foundations of Shadowmoor Keep. Warriors come running, only to freeze at the sight of their Alpha King on his knees, clawing at the stone floor as if trying to dig his way to hell. "Find her," he commands, his voice broken. "Find Elowen. Search every inch of the wasteland. Bring her home." But Revena is faster. She comes to Thornhaven with 50 warriors at her back, her copper hair streaming like a battle flag. "Surrender the traitor," she calls from beyond the village gates, "and I'll let the rest of you live." Seraphine stands on the wall, her scarred face grim. "She's under our protection. Turn back or face the consequences." Revena laughs. "Consequences? From a rabble of outcasts and cripples?" She gestures, and her warriors surge forward. The battle is brief and brutal. Thornhaven's defenders fight valiantly, but they're outnumbered and outmatched. Within minutes, the gates are breached, the walls are overrun, and Revena's wolves pour into the village like a flood of teeth and claws. Elowen feels each death like a knife to her heart. These people took her in. They protected her. And now they're dying because of her. No more. She steps out of Marin's cottage and the world goes still. Divine radiance blazes around her like a corona, so bright that wolves on both sides shield their eyes. Her hair floats in an invisible wind, white now instead of brown, transformed by the power that flows through her veins. Her eyes are twin moons, ancient and terrible and utterly without mercy. Revena. Her voice carries across the battlefield like thunder. "You've come looking for me. Here I am." The copper-haired woman's face contorts with shock, then fear, then desperate hatred. "Kill her!" she screams. "Kill her now!" A dozen warriors charge. Elowen raises her hand. They freeze mid-stride, held in place by power that answers only to her will. With a gentle gesture, she sets them down, unconscious but unharmed. "I am not the frightened girl you cast into the wilderness," Elowen says, walking forward through the carnage. "I am not the Luna you framed and discarded. I am the moon's chosen, Revena, and I have come to reclaim what is mine." Revena shifts, her wolf form massive and snarling. She launches herself at Elowen with claws extended. Silver light flares. When it fades, Revena lies in human form at Elowen's feet, unable to move, unable to shift, stripped of everything that made her dangerous. "This isn't over," Revena hisses. "Theron will never take you back. You're nothing to him. Nothing. Perhaps." Elowen looks down at her with something almost like pity. "But that's for him to decide. Not you. Never again you." She turns to the surviving Shadowmoor warriors, her silver gaze sweeping across their terrified faces. "Go back to your Alpha King. Tell him what you've witnessed. Tell him his Luna is alive and she's coming home. And take this traitor with you. Let her face the King's justice." They flee without a backward glance, dragging Revena's bound form behind them. The throne room of Shadowmoor Keep looks different in moonlight. Elowen walks through the massive doors with Marin at her side and 24 Thornhaven wolves at her back. The same room where she was condemned now falls silent at her approach, courtiers and warriors alike shrinking from the power that radiates from her like heat from a flame. Theron stands before his throne, not sitting, not hiding behind royal distance. His face is ravaged by grief and guilt, his once proud shoulders bowed beneath a weight no crown can justify. Their eyes meet across the hall, and the mate bond flares to life between them, singing with pain and longing and 1,000 unspoken words. "Elowen." Her name falls from his lips like a prayer. "Alpha King." She keeps her voice steady, though her heart is breaking. "I believe you have something that belongs to me." He flinches as if struck. "Everything. Everything belongs to you. The throne, the pack, my life itself." He takes a step toward her, then another, then sinks to his knees at her feet. "I failed you. I failed us. I failed the child I didn't even believe existed. Murmurs ripple through the watching crowd. The Alpha King, kneeling before a woman he cast out? Unthinkable. Unprecedented. You did. Eloin agrees, and he bows his head in acceptance. You believed lies over love. You chose suspicion over trust. You threw away your mate and your heir based on the word of a woman who wanted nothing but your power. I know. His voice breaks. Every day since I've known. The moment you were gone, the bond went cold, and I told myself it was because you'd betrayed me. But it wasn't. It was because I'd betrayed you. He looks up at her, and tears streak his face. I don't expect forgiveness, Eloin. I don't deserve it. But please, please let me spend the rest of my life trying to earn it. This is the moment she's imagined 1,000 times. The proud Alpha King broken before her, the power to destroy him resting in her hands. One word from her, and everything he's built would crumble. The moon goddess's justice, delivered at last. But as she looks at his shattered face, she doesn't see the cold king who condemned her. She sees the man who laughed only when they were alone. She sees the boy who lost his parents and built walls around his heart to survive. She sees her mate, flawed and foolish, and desperately in need of redemption. Where is Revena? She asks quietly. In the dungeons, awaiting judgment. His jaw tightens. Whatever punishment you decree, I'll carry it out myself. Bring her. Revena is dragged before them in chains, her beautiful face twisted with defiance even now. She sees Eloin standing tall in the moonlight streaming through the windows, sees Theron still on his knees, and her lips curl into a sneer. How touching. The little Omega returns in triumph. Her laugh is brittle, edged with madness. Enjoy it while it lasts. He'll betray you again. It's in his nature. You'll never be able to trust him, and that doubt will poison everything until there's nothing left. Perhaps, Eloin says calmly, but that's not your concern anymore. She raises her hand, celestial power gathering around her fingers. Revena's sneer falters. Wait. What are you doing? Real fear enters her voice. The moon goddess doesn't kill. She's a goddess of mercy and light. The moon has many faces, Revena. She gives life, yes. But she also governs the hunt. She watches over wolves who kill to survive, to protect, to serve justice. Eloin's eyes blaze with divine radiance. And tonight, justice will be served. Theron! Revena screams, thrashing in her captor's grip. Theron, please! I did it for you. Everything I did was for you. I loved you. The Alpha King rises slowly to his feet. He looks at the woman who manipulated him, who nearly destroyed his mate, who would have killed his child. You loved power, he says quietly. You never loved me. I'm not sure you're capable of loving anything. He turns his back on her. Revena's screams echo through the throne room as the moon goddess's judgment falls upon her. Not death, but something far more fitting. The silver light strips away everything she valued most. Her beauty withers, her wolf abandons her. Her ambition turns to ash in her mouth. When it's done, she's nothing but a frail, aged mortal woman, collapsed on the cold stone floor. You will live, Eloin pronounces. You will live as one of the weak you despised. You will beg for scraps from the tables of those you once commanded. And every day, you will remember what you lost and why. Guards drag the broken woman away. In the silence that follows, Eloin finally allows herself to look at Theron. I haven't forgiven you, she says softly. I don't know if I ever can. I know. He doesn't reach for her, doesn't presume a touch he hasn't earned. But I'll wait, however long it takes. I'll prove myself worthy of the second chance I don't deserve. The mate bond pulses between them, wounded but healing, broken but not beyond. Repair. Then prove it, Eloin whispers. The first labor pain hits her like lightning. The pain comes in waves, each one stronger than the last. Elowen collapses against Theron before she can stop herself, her body betraying her at the worst possible moment. His arms catch her instantly, cradling her against his chest with a gentleness that steals her breath. "The baby!" she gasps. "Something's wrong." Chaos erupts around them. Servants scramble for the midwife. Warriors clear the throne room. Marin pushes through the crowd, her weathered face tight with concern. "Get her to the birthing chamber," the old woman commands. "Now." Theron lifts Elowen as if she weighs nothing, carrying her through corridors that blur past in a haze of agony. She can feel the child fighting to enter the world, can sense something dark pressing against the edges of her awareness. "The moon goddess's gift comes with a price," Marin says grimly as they burst into the birthing chamber. "The child carries divine blood. Bringing such a life into the world is never easy." "What does that mean?" Theron demands, laying Elowen on the bed with infinite care. "What's happening to her?" "It means she's fighting a battle we cannot see." Marin begins gathering herbs and supplies, and if she loses, we lose them both. Hours pass in a fog of silver light and searing pain. Elowen drifts between worlds, her consciousness split between the physical agony of labor and a vast, luminous space where the moon goddess waits. "You must choose," the goddess says, her voice echoing through eternity. "The child's power is too great for mortal birth. You can surrender your gift to ease the passage, or you can keep it and risk losing the baby." "No." Elowen's spirit blazes with defiance. "I won't choose between my power and my child. There has to be another way." "There is always another way, daughter. But it requires sacrifice." "What sacrifice?" The goddess's form shifts, becoming something ancient and terrible. "Not yours. His." Understanding dawns like a cold sunrise. Elowen looks back through the veil between worlds and sees Theron kneeling beside her body, his face ravaged with helpless terror. His hand grips hers so tightly his knuckles have gone white. His lips move in desperate, silent prayer. "He must prove his love is true," the goddess continues. "He must offer something precious, freely given, with no guarantee of return. And if he won't, then the choice falls to you alone." In the birthing chamber, Theron feels the moment Elowen slips further away. Her hand goes limp in his. Her breathing becomes shallow, irregular. The glow that has surrounded her dims to almost nothing. "She's fading," Marin says quietly. "The birth is killing her." "No." The word tears from his throat like a howl. "No, I won't allow it. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to save her." The old woman studies him with those strange, knowing eyes. "Would you give anything, Alpha King? Would you sacrifice everything? You are to bring her back?" "Yes." He doesn't hesitate. "My crown, my pack, my life. All of it. None of it matters without her." "Then prove it." Marin presses a silver dagger into his palm. The blade gleams with otherworldly light, its edge sharper than any mortal steel. "Your wolf is your power," she says. "Your connection to the beast within is what makes you Alpha King. Sever that connection and you become ordinary, human, weak." Theron stares at the blade, understanding crashing over him. She's asking him to give up everything that defines him, his strength, his authority, his very identity as a wolf. He looks at Elowen's pale face, remembers the way she smiled on their wedding day, recalls every moment of joy she brought into his cold, lonely existence. Then he raises the blade and plunges it into his own chest. Silver fire explodes through the room. Elowen screams as power floods back into her body, not just her own, but Theron's as well. His sacrifice tears through the barrier between worlds, giving her the strength she needs to complete what seemed impossible. One final push, one final surge of divine light. And then, cutting through the chaos like a blade through silk, comes the cry of a newborn child. Elowen collapses against the pillows, tears streaming down her face as Marin places a tiny, squalling bundle in her arms. A girl, perfect and beautiful, with her father's dark hair and her mother's silver eyes. She's magnificent, Marin whispers reverently, truly the goddess's own. But Eloin's gaze has already found Theron. He lies crumpled on the floor beside her bed, the silver dagger still protruding from his chest. His breathing is shallow, his skin ashen. He sacrificed his wolf to save her. He gave up everything he was. Theron. She reaches for him with her free hand, her voice breaking. Theron, please. His eyes flutter open, gray now instead of gold. Human eyes, without the wolf fire that once burned behind them. Is she safe? He whispers. Are you both safe? Yes. Tears fall freely down her cheeks. Yes, we're safe. Because of you. A weak smile crosses his pale lips. Then it was worth it. All of it. Elowin reaches deep inside herself, calling on the power the moon goddess gave her. Light gathers around her fingers as she presses her hand against his wounded chest. What are you doing? He asks. Returning what you gave. She pours everything she has into him, healing the wound, restoring what was lost. You sacrificed your wolf to save our daughter. The least I can do is give it back. Light floods through him. She feels the moment his wolf stirs back to life, feels the mate bond blaze between them stronger than ever before. When his eyes open again, they burn with familiar gold. Eloin. He breathes, wonder and love and desperate gratitude mingling in his voice. I don't deserve this. No. She agrees softly, but you're going to spend the rest of your life earning it. Starting now. She places their daughter in his trembling arms. The Alpha King, the conqueror of territories, the wolf who built an empire on strength and fear, looks down at the tiny life he helped create and weeps. A year later, Shadowmoor has transformed. The harsh training grounds now include healing tents where injured warriors can recover without shame. The throne room hosts gatherings of laughter and music, where pack members celebrate together as family rather than soldiers. Children play freely in courtyards that once echoed only with the clash of weapons. And in the royal garden, beneath the light of the full moon, the Alpha King renews his vows to his Luna. I failed you once, Theron says, his voice carrying to the assembled crowd. I let fear and suspicion blind me to the truth. I nearly destroyed the greatest gift the goddess ever gave me. He takes Eloin's hands in his golden eyes shining with love. But you taught me that strength isn't about walls and armor. It's about having the courage to be vulnerable, to trust, to love even when it terrifies you. He raises her hand to his lips. I will spend every day of my life proving worthy of your forgiveness. I will be the mate you deserve, the father our daughter needs, and the king our people can believe in. Eloin smiles, her silver eyes bright with happy tears. I believe you, she whispers. I forgive you, and I love you, Theron of Shadowmoor. Now and always. Their kiss, when it comes, tastes like redemption. In Eloin's arms, their daughter coos contentedly, reaching toward the moon with tiny fingers. Soft luminescence dances across her skin, a gift from the goddess who wove her destiny long before she was born. Somewhere beyond the Veil of Worlds, the moon goddess watches and smiles. Her daughter has found her justice. Her chosen has found her peace. And in the kingdom of Shadowmoor, love has finally conquered all. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story.